This is why I couldn't stand working in my job anymore as a quantity surveyor, and what I did about it as well. Let me just paint the picture for you. So I studied civil engineering at university. I stayed in construction and I got a job as a quantity surveyor. And I was working on some big sites, like multi millions, a lot of money being passed around, huge constructions going up. And for the first 5 years, I really enjoyed it. I felt like I was on a career path. I felt as though I was set for life and I could see myself climbing up that corporate ladder. I was learning a lot, like every single day I was learning something new about the job that I was on. And there was stress at times, but I was always advancing and I was always getting the next opportunity. And could feel myself growing in that role. And I could see a pathway to grow in my career and obviously make more and more money. But what actually happened, so after about 5 years, what actually ended up happening was I broke up with a girlfriend of mine at the time. We went our separate ways. That was a difficult time, but we were going to go traveling together. But we decided, obviously, with us breaking up, that wasn't going to happen anymore. And I had a year sabbatical booked from work. They had approved me for it. They were open to it. They wanted to kind of be a new company that was doing this because they hadn't really offered it to anyone else before. And they offered it to me, and I was very grateful for that. But breaking up with this girlfriend at the time, I was thinking, right, what the hell do I do now? I've got a year off work. I'd saved up about £11,000 in my bank account, and I had no idea what to do. And I made the decision for the first time in my life. I felt like I actually had some control. And I made a decision that, do you know what? I'm going to go on my own adventure traveling. I'm going to go and do my own thing. I'm going to use this time that I had, and then I'll come back to work, and then I'll climb my way up the corporate ladder. And so I chose to go to New Zealand. Look, I love Lord of the Rings. I wanted to see where these places were filmed. I wanted to see what was out there. And I booked my flights, and I got this coach trip, this bus tour for backpackers, for travelers that go around New Zealand, go around the islands. When I got to New Zealand, met some amazing people, did this coach trip, saw all these sites, and it was amazing. Ended up buying a camper van, just traveled around in this camper van. I could go anywhere I wanted. I could do anything that I want with whoever I wanted. And I had so much fun. I had such a laugh. And that, for the first time, was when I felt that freedom. I'd never experienced that before. I didn't have anyone checking in on me. I didn't have any emails to answer or texts, or I didn't have to go and complete any deadlines and reports. I literally had all this time and I felt so free, and it was such a liberating feeling. And with that, the very best version of myself came out. I felt more confident, I had more conviction, I was more friendly, I was more cheerful. It was just a full contrast, who I was traveling to who I was in that job. But I still, even whilst I was traveling, I still had it in my mind that I wanted to go back to work, start climbing my way up the corporate ladder. And eventually, after 6 months, ran out of money. I went back, flew home, I lived at my mum's for about a month, and then ended up traveling back to where I lived. Rented a room from a house close to where the job was, close to where the company was. And I remember going back to work, and it was really hot that summer. And in the first few days, it was kind of like, it felt good to be back and seeing people again. But then I remember the lady, Sarah was her name, from HR. She was a HR director. She came in, she hands me my new contract of employment. And as I'm reading it, it said, if one of the things stood out to me, one of the clauses really stood out to me. And it said, if need be, you work weekends, holidays, and any overtime necessary to get the job done. And there won't be any additional remuneration. So no additional pay for doing those extra hours. And that's where things started to switch for me. I felt, even in that moment, it was a bit of a punch in the gut, because I was like, I've come from all this freedom for the last 6 months. Suddenly now I'm being told what I have to do again. And that's where I could see this is what it was going to be like for the next 20, 30, 40 years. Somebody was going to be controlling my life, and I wasn't going to have the freedom that I wanted. And I didn't know that starting the business was an answer then. I just knew in myself that I wanted freedom. I wanted to do something more with my life and create something where I could be traveling and I could go around and I could do what I wanted. And that's where I started looking for answers. And suddenly the doors start opening up, and I started going to these seminars about making money, about success. And that's where I learned that actually starting a business, creating something that adds value to people where you can get paid, is a way to live life on your terms. And that's why I then got into business. And I had no idea what business I was going to start. I had some enjoyment around personal development. I was really interested in mindset. And that's where I got into coaching. I started helping people with their goals. I put on some workshops and started to help people change their mindset. And that's where I started. That's where I focused on first. But I was still working full time at this point. I started my business on the side. It was just something that I was doing in the evenings and the weekends, but I still was working as a quantity surveyor. So you got to imagine, now I've seen this life for myself and what I want to create and the possibility of what I can create. Yet every day I've still got to commute to work. I've still got to do the reports. I've still got to be told what to do. And the one thing going for me is I had a manager at the time who I really liked. He was the one who had let me go traveling. He said, yeah, great idea, go for it. He'd supported me when I'd broken up with that previous girlfriend. He'd supported me with that, being there. And then I got moved with another manager who I did not get on with. We did not see eye to eye. I felt like he spoke to me like I was just some kind of like peasant or some kind of pleb. We did not get along, and there was always a lot of tension. And this is happening now over months. I'm getting more and more frustrated. I've just got it in the back of my mind that I really want to quit my job. I really want to quit. And I'm talking to my mum about it. I'm talking to my dad about it. And they're like, slow down. Like, is that really something you want to do? Like, you've got this great career. Is that, Brexit was happening at the time. We don't know what's going to happen in the economy. Do you really want to quit your job? And once I've got an idea in my mind, I cannot let go of it. And I could not stop thinking about it. And what actually then happened was I was pulled into a meeting, and I was told, look, Tom, we're going to move you fully with the new manager. You're going to be moving into his team. We're going to be taking all the old projects away from you and putting you on some new projects. And these old projects that I was working on, they were big, like high-rise concrete frames. And I love that. You go to site, see these tower cranes and these machines and all this concrete going up. It was amazing. I enjoyed that part. But then I was moved to these new sites, which are just like residential housing. It's just digging some trenches, laying some brickwork. It's messy, it's muddy, it's a tip. And I got no enjoyment out of it. I didn't even get it. I didn't understand it. And I got pushed onto that. And that was the moment for me where I was like, this is it. I cannot do this anymore. And I went away. I felt so miserable. I was like, that was the end of it. And the director of the team at that time, he saw me in the car park. He was like, Tom, like, what's up? You seem so down. I said, look, I don't want to do this anymore. And I couldn't lie to him. And I just had to be honest. I said, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I think I just want to go and do my own thing. And he understood, in fairness. He reacted pretty well. He was like, I get it. And he let me just have the weekend to think about it. I didn't need to think about it. I went away that weekend. I wrote my resignation letter, but I was tactical about it. I was very nice about it in my letter, and I gave it to my previous manager who I liked. And I said I had a lot of respect for him. I was nervous about giving it to him, handing that resignation letter over to him. But I was, instead of asking for my 4 weeks notice period, I said, look, I don't want to leave anyone in the lurch. I'm going to give 3 months notice. So I did 3 months notice instead of just 1 month's notice, 30 days. And so that was a huge relief for me, because now I felt like the pathway was out. This was becoming real. This was becoming serious now. And that was hugely exciting, daunting, scary, yes. But the excitement that actually knowing I was going to be getting out of something that was making me so miserable, that is a fantastic feeling. And I spent those next 3 months just knuckling down and working on the business and doing whatever I could to find clients for myself, to get my name out there, to be seen as though I was doing something and as though I was actually going to be able to help people. And I spent those next 3 months just getting myself ready to be able to leave that job. And I'll be honest, those 3 months dragged. It felt as though they went on forever. We got there in the end. And that's the reason why I couldn't stand my job anymore. And that's the reason why I quit my job, because I saw something else for my life. And, over these last 17 years now, I'm free, right? I can do what I want. I can work from home. I can go to a Starbucks. I can travel. I can go see people. I can go see my friends. I don't have to book any time off with anyone. If I don't want to work on a particular day, I don't have to. If I want to work on a Saturday instead of a Monday, I can do that. I can create my weekly diary how I want. And the best thing is I'm working directly with people. I'm getting it now, helping them start their own business. It's something that they know about, their past experiences, and turning that into a business idea where they can help other people. It's the most fulfilling thing when you help somebody start a business and then they make their first sales. They actually go out there and make money, and that is so, so fulfilling for me. And that's why I'm on this path now, and I want to help you get into a place where with your own business, you're making enough money to quit your job. Because then you can create the life that you want for yourself, and you can do things in the way that's unique to you. So that's the story, that's the background, and that's what I'm doing. If you enjoyed this video, obviously just let me know if it related in the comments. If you can resonate with that at some level, any part of my story and any part of my background, if you can relate to that, just let me know in the comments.